In this video I will show you 4 different ways to paint tulips. We will start with the easiest ones. It's super simple, so even if you're a beginner, you can definitely do it. I will also tell you all the lessons that I've learned using these techniques and all the mistakes I made so that you don't repeat them. I like to start by swatching my colors so that it gives me an idea of what colors I want to use, but also it's just a good warm-up exercise. For the first technique, I will use only one color for the tulip flowers, but at 2 different strengths, one a pale one and one darker one. I start by painting an oval shape with the pale wash, but I leave a little bit of white space in between the petals. I also try to make one petal a little bit bigger and the other one thinner. Next, I'm dropping in some of the dark wash at the bottom of the flower. Next, I'm painting the stems and the leaves. For the leaves, I'm using compounding stroke. I start with the tip of the round brush and then I press down on it to create thicker part of the leaf, and then again I lift the brush up to create a tip of the leaf. Here I made a mistake. I should have waited for the petals to dry first before trying to connect the stems with the petals, and because they were still wet, the green wash ran into the flowers, unfortunately. I managed to save the tulip on the left by leaving a little bit of a gap between the petals and the stem, but if I waited for it to dry, then that wouldn't really be a problem. It would be an easier way to do it. I wrote some notes for myself with the mistakes I made so that I don't repeat them with the next method. One thing that I wish I did is not making the gap between the petals so big. Next time I will leave less of the white space, and of course I should have waited for the petals to dry before painting the stems. The next method is similar, but this time I'm using 2 colors. I'm also making the gap between the petals a little bit smaller than in the previous painting. Now I'm adding the second color, but this time not just to the bottom, I'm also adding it just to the top of the petals, to the sides, wherever I feel like it will look good. I made 2 mistakes painting these petals. I used too much water, and I also don't like the colors that I used. I don't think they mix well together. I waited for the petals to dry before adding the stems and leaves. When painting the leaves, I also add stronger version of the same color in some places. For the next method, I will also be using 2 colors, but this time I am checking how they mix together so that I avoid the mistake that I did previously because I didn't like how the colors mixed. So this time I will test it out first. I like the second mix better, so these are the ones that I'm going to use. I haven't used this technique before. I thought it would be tricky, but it actually turned out to be surprisingly simple. I'm loading my brush with 2 colors. I started with yellow and then I'm adding a little bit of pink. I am also testing this method on a piece of paper just to make sure it works. And surprisingly, it actually looks pretty good, so I'm going in. It's best to use quite creamy, thick consistency of the paint for this method. I'm coating my brush with first wash and then I'm only dipping it a little bit, just the tip, in the second color. This method takes a little bit of practice. For example, the second tulip that I painted and turned out a little bit like too bright, too yellow. But the good thing is you can easily add more color because the wash is so thick, it's just easy to blend. I'm going to use the same method for painting the stems and the leaves, but first I'm checking if I like the two colors that I'll be blending together. I am using the same yellow that I used in the tulips because that will create more balanced, more harmonious painting. I'm using compounding stroke for the leaf again. I like this method. The only problem is that paint loses transparency because I'm using it so thickly. It could almost have been done with acrylics. So this method kind of loses a little bit of what watercolors are really good at, you know, the transparency, the freshness of the wash. Next, I'm going to try to paint transparent tulips, and for this I need a transparent paint. Some paints will have a square to indicate transparency. The transparent ones have just like a black outline, and the ones that are opaque will have a black square. There's also 2 other steps in between, so 4 levels of transparency. I'm starting my transparent tulips by painting like a V shape and then cleaning the brush, and using damp brush I'm dragging this color along to create like an outline. Then I'm cleaning the brush again, and with the damp brush I'm trying to pull the paint a little bit towards the center. I'm also removing some excess paint by dabbing my brush on a piece of kitchen towel. I'm waiting for the first petal to dry before painting some more petals. I find transparent flowers quite tricky to paint. I can't really even tell you what mistakes I made. I guess I just need more practice. So, which one was your favorite? I hope this was helpful. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Happy painting!